Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to the channel. This is the first real clip of 2024. So back over here, I'm still working on this veranda. So I've knocked that piece out there. Over this way, I've knocked this one out here. And, oh yeah, while we're at it, I've also knocked a few bikes out of the way and I'm down to these two. So the only ones I've got left now is this Vespa 300 GTS, and we've got the red chrome Royal Enfield 350. So these are both 23 plated models, so they're the two I've got left now. So there's no need to ask if you don't see it here, I haven't got it. So apart from that, I'm up here on the roof here, I'm working on this veranda. It's been taking quite a bit of effort. I've ripped all the tin and laser light off this section here. And what we might do, we might go for a ride on one of these, and I'll tell you what's happening in 2024 and what I've done to sort of improve things along on the channel. Okay guys, thanks for tuning into the channel. It's a bit of a hot one today. It's about 33 degrees out here, 7 o'clock at night. I thought I'd get out here and see if we could put a bit of a clip together to tell you what's happening in 2024. So first off, like you see, I'm down to two bikes now, and it'll be the classic 350 Reborn in the red chrome and the Vespa scooter. So that's what's happening there at the moment. All the other bikes are gone, and the main reason for that is I figured it was a really bit of waste of time spending all this money just on half a dozen new bikes when, for one, I don't get a great deal of chance to ride them, and two, they don't get a great deal of interest. So the idea for me was to get rid of them, and that didn't seem to be that hard to do. So like all things, it always governs on price, but you know, like I said, it wasn't hard to move them. It was a bit of a debate which one to sell in the classics, either the Halcyon or this red chrome. I couldn't get the right price for the red chrome, so I thought I've got two bikes exactly the same, so I'll just keep whatever one that's left after I put it up for sale. And it actually turned out the Halcyon was the first one to go, but the person who bought it at a reasonable price anyway. I think $4,500 was pretty cheap for it. And this particular one, when I whipped it up, I was trying to get $6,500 and it cost me $9, and couldn't score that there, so you know, good luck to the bloke who bought that one. And the other ones are gone too, so it doesn't matter much about that. But the thing is, the classic 350 Reborn, sort of my favourite bike, so, or one of my favourite bikes I should say, and you know, as far as that goes, well, I'd always like to have one of those in stock. Now the idea behind that classic 350 Reborn too, we'll go further into that one shortly as soon as I tell you about this other side of it. And the other side, the Vespa 2, I decided to keep the Vespa. Well, I never had any intentions of selling the Vespa, but as far as the Vespa goes, it's just outright the best scooter I've been on. And you know, I've been on a lot of bikes over the last 12 years, and we should say a lot of new bikes. So there's a bit of difference between saying you've been on a lot of bikes or you've been on a lot of new bikes. So all mine have each been brand new. I don't know exactly, but I think at the last count around about 68 in the last 12 years. So you know, not a bad run. So the Vespa's staying because it's such a good bike to ride and it's got the best power. So we've got those two out of the way, and next up for you to think about is the Triumph Scrambler. Well, I thought it over about the Triumph Scrambler, and right near the end of it pulled the plug and changed my mind. And the reason being, I don't really know if I want to get out there on a 40 horsepower bike and ride around on the dirt and stuff like that in case I'm pushing my luck too much, because sometimes I get a little bit carried away with the riding of the bikes, and a little bit, believe it or not, you might see them on camera, but sometimes I do give them a bit of a workout. And I decided then I might as well, you know, hit the nail on the head and forget about that Triumph Scrambler. Now, there's another method in me madness too, and the reason being, going back, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, when I ordered the Triumph Scrambler, a little bit after that I ordered that Rolex watch, and then I also ordered the new Honda 350. So that's the GB 350, just arrived in Australia. Now it's hard to believe, all stuff virtually come in at the one time. So there you were, $30,000 you had to pull out of your pocket to get things going under control, plus I'd already just bought this bike too. So that turned out to be a little bit of a problem there. So I was thinking it over which one I should go for, and I was thinking if I kept the classic 350, or one of the classic 350 Reborns, and I wasn't fussy which one, I would like to put it against the GB 350 Honda, because the Honda's supposed to be such a good bike, and I'm just wondering that it comes in at $8,000 and the classic's sitting in the 8,000 to 9,000 range. I was just curious to see which one was the better bike. So the dealer rang me, told me my bike's in, am I ready to pick it up? I had to do a little bit of thinking about how I was going to handle this, and like I said, Triumph's out. Naturally you've seen the watch come in, and you've also seen the, well you haven't seen it yet, but the Honda GB 350 has now arrived in a dealer's store, and he's waiting for me to pick it up. So that's going to be picked up in the next couple of days, and you know, if you're here to see the Triumph, well you'll be a bit disappointed in that line, but there'll be plenty of other people testing them, and they'll be riding them a lot harder with me than I would have, I should say, because if I would have got a GB 350, I wouldn't have been riding it like the other guys out there, flogging the crap out of it and giving it a hard life, because I'd be a bit concerned if something goes wrong. It could be curtains for me. So that was the idea of that. Now the other thing is, with this GB 350, and this is another thing I thought about, I've already ordered the high performance cam for this classic 350 Reborn. So what I'm thinking of doing now is bringing some really big tests into it, and I'll be testing the classic 350 Reborn stock against that Honda GB 350. Then I'm going to fit the cam to the classic 350 Reborn, and then put it up against the Honda GB 350, and just see how it performs under those situations where they, at that stage, may be interesting to see how, you know, like they go in a bit of a burst against each other. Because on tests, the new Honda GB 350 is 4 seconds quicker to 100 kilometres an hour than any of the classics or the other bikes in the Enfield range. So I'm interested to see how it compares to the old days of how the Hunter ran on. So that's the plan. So I'm going to execute all that. Yeah, so that's the plan, and I'm going to put it into operation, I suppose, once this other bike arrives. Now I'm also thinking, if I would have bought the Triumph, there's not much difference separating it with, you know, the best thing about the Honda, I can just buy it local. I don't have to go anything wrong. If you ask me what scared me off the Triumph a bit, well, the main thing that scared me off the Triumph, there's been quite a few reports over there in India of them cutting out and going back through the gears in second or third down the second, and a few of the other ones where they slow down like now and then they just cut out. Well, I was thinking, if I was right out in the back scrub of Australia and it cut out on me and I couldn't get it started and I was miles and miles from nowhere, I would really, really be pissed off, no doubt. I'd feel like getting up there and smashing it to pieces if I could, but that's what would happen. Now, it might not ever do it, and I figured now, you know, like I always have options, and what I'm thinking of doing is probably give it a few months to see if they sort them out. If I think later on in the year I want a Triumph, well, there's no big deal, just go back to them and buy one. So, but at this stage, I think the big test is not a 40 horsepower bike against a 20, it's two 20 horsepower bikes, one with a little bit more power to start with, where they say it's Japanese horses on the GB compared to Indian horses on the Honda, and they reckon the Jap horses are more powering, and you know, we'll go from there. But don't get me wrong, like you know, there's nothing wrong with as far as the Triumph goes, but when you're 500 kilometres from a dealer, you know, you've got a bit of a problem there. If anything goes wrong, you're stuck. So I've had bikes where I've had a little bit of trouble when their dealer's a bit away, and you know, like, who's going to fix it for me? Not saying anything go wrong, but I've got to cover myself. And I think later on the idea will be you'd like to see whether a stock Honda GB350 can get out there and ride these dirt roads I've got planned, and you know, we'll go from there. Might be a good bike, might not. I've already seen the bike itself, and we'll talk about colour and all that when I pick it up, but I've already been down to the shop, seen the bike when it arrived in, signed the rego papers, go back there if it's registered tomorrow or Tuesday, pay the guy, and I'm ready to get out there and test. So this was a bit of a dark horse with the Honda GB350, even though a couple of people asked me whether they're going to get one. Well, you can't get up there and say to anyone, yeah, I'm buying one, and then just ruin the surprise later on. So, you know, you've got to sort of play a dummy and say, oh no, I'll give it a bit of thought maybe later on in the year. But I'd had my eye on it, and, you know, like at one stage it was going to be a Triumph Scrambler, a Triumph Street, and I was going to take both of those instead. But at that stage, you know, in all honesty, the channel doesn't warrant bringing in all these bikes for very poor view results. And you know, on average I have a huge amount of money per year tied up in bikes, and you know, like, I'm thinking of giving the bikes a bit of a miss now, and I'd like to go back in to watch it. So that's my idea there. I'd be happy getting out and buying the odd watch and hold them till later. I'm not worried about putting them on the tube or nothing like that, so, you know, as far as things go. So there's plenty of watch channels out there, but so I think that's about what's happening at the moment. And like I said, it's about 32, 33 degrees here today, extremely windy, and I just thought I'd fill you in what's happening. So the dark horse coming in is the Honda GB350, and we'll be able to get out there and see how it performs, how it goes, what's it like, is it worth riding, is it worth buying, all these sort of things, and I'll put it to a really good test, see what it's like, and then more importantly, modify this one with the new cam and put it up against it. Unless I happen to get on and those other blokes are talking crap and I say to you, oh no, I think the Enfield's better from the start. When I looked at the GB350 at the dealers, I wouldn't say it's a better looking bike to this Enfield, but it's really similar in looks. So, you know, it's pretty close to it. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, taking a look. Stay tuned. Come back later on, see what you reckon. We both might be in for a shock. You know? If it's a real bad bike, I might be in for the shock.